Welcome to Late Entry, your favorite or soon-to-be favorite place for sports news, the wildest viral topics, and conversations guaranteed to make you laugh. We've got old Captain America Drip Guy Woo. We've got Cracker Kyle.
What up?
The fuck was that?
I had a thing on my tongue. What up, though? How we doing?
And as always, I'm your host, Double Dose. Man, let me tell you real quick, bro. So I think I've mentioned this before that we switched to Riverside for our recording, and there was an issue with our recording after our last episode, and so I had to email their support and ask them to fix part of the recording. You know how crazy it is to fucking have to email a company and say, can you please fix the audio recording for, quote, Cracker Kyle with 2 Ks? Out of context, dog. I was like, this looks horrible. They're probably like, what the fuck kind of recordings are y'all doing? And then they open it up and it's 2 black dudes.
They had to go PR check it, make sure it wasn't some crazy shit.
Oh my god. So while I was thinking about this story, it made me think, bro, I've got some questions for you, Mr. Cracker Kyle. I have 2 scenarios for you, right?
All right.
When you're at home, if you've got an Alexa plugged in and you want to hear niggas in Paris, how do you cue that up?
I write it down and I put it up to the. Just kidding. I think I would, if I were to ask, I would probably ask her N words in Paris. Would probably.
Would that work?
The way.
Nope.
Is that not how I ask?
No,
Man,
she's
gotta
probably.
Say, Alexa, bump that niggas in Paris. Hey, it's just you. Ain't nobody got enough.
She didn't hear that, did she? Oh, thank God. All right.
The funniest thing is I'm pretty sure that fucking like it's got like audio recordings of every time that like someone talks to it. So like it's just gonna have like hella recordings of Kyle saying nigga dog. Oh my god. All right.
I would ask you to say it. I'd probably call you and be like, hey Spencer, can you
can you ask my Alexa to play this for me? Oh my god.
Hey Spencer, do the thing.
Have you ever seen those videos? Right. You just play me saying it.
Alexa, hold on.
This is crazy. This motherfucker had to go find a nigga to do his work. Hey, what race is your Siri on your phone? I know you don't have the black voice.
I swear she's Irish.
Oh my god. All right, let's do the fucking show. Complete fucking
good way to start. It's a good way to start.
Complete switch up of the vibes, right? So Knicks versus Celtics, dog. Celtics lose to the Knicks, and Jayson Tatum has an injury. It looks like potentially, if not probably, an Achilles tear. So prayers up for Jayson Tatum. I hope he makes a full recovery. That being said, man, I'm devastated. This has been probably my favorite series so far. Some of the other ones have had too many blowouts back and forth. But this, I've been so excited to see like both teams at their full potential. Like, you know, the come from behind wins in the first 2 games. Game 3 was a blowout, but this game tonight, it was like, all right, whoever wins this game is probably going to win this series because you're either going to go up 3-1 or you're going to tie it up. And then basically the Celtics can just keep moving forward. And Jayson Tatum was hooping. He had like 30 or 40 points tonight, and it was looking like it was going to wind up being
42?
42. Damn. And it looked like it was going to be a really, really close finish and like one of those great ones. And for him to get hurt, aside from being sad for him as the player, I'm sad as a basketball fan for what the series that was just taken from us. Now, the Celtics do have one of the deepest rosters in the league, so they've got a potential they can still kind of pull this together, maybe make it close. But if they lose, it's going to be real sad that the defending champs went out like this off of an injury. Toph, what did you think?
Yeah, like I said, now me personally, I know everybody, I don't know why people have this notion that Jaylen Brown is the best player on the Celtics. I think that's crazy talk. Um, Jayson Tatum is by far the better player than Jaylen Brown. I think they work really well together. Like I said, if you don't have Jayson Tatum, who's consistently probably going to be their best scorer pretty much every game. I know he had one game when pretty much the whole team didn't play well, but it'd be very hard to find somebody off the bench that's going to give you, 'cause now you got to win what 4 straight, and you asking
Yeah.
that person to either that person replace somebody that's get like 30, or the rest of your bench unit, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, um, Big Stack for Zingas. Now you're gonna have to actually do a whole lot more to cover that production you can get from Jayson Tatum. Like I said, man, you talked about this, previous episodes. The Knicks, man, you can't ever count them out, man. They may be down, 20, 14 points, but they always fight, call back. It's that grit and grind team. That's that Tibbs play style. And Mr. Clutch did it again. Jalen Brunson almost had 40 points, 39. And pretty much everybody set for Josh Hart. He's one of the dirty work player. You're not going to expect, Josh Hart to get you 10 points. Pretty much all the other 4 guys got you 20 points. OG with some big clutch steals, down at the end of the stretch there. At this point, we might have to ask ourselves, can the Knicks make it out the East? Like I said, they don't back down. They don't blow anybody out. But like I said, they've pretty much been in every single game. And any game the Knicks have been this whole playoff series is basically must-watch TV. I'm excited to see it. Like I said, it does suck that we're going to lose Jayson Tatum. You never wish, injury on anybody. And you're also going to want to have every team to have the best players to kind of put the best product possible out there on the court each and every game. But it is sad to lose JT, but, next man up.
Kyle, before you hop in, I just wanted to answer you, Joe. If you mentioned you don't know why people say that Jaylen Brown is the best player, I would think that a lot of it has to do with they're very close. Like they're very close, and some series will be one, some will the other. But the playoff run last season, Jayson Tatum was so inconsistent, so up and down, and Jaylen Brown, it seemed like, was very consistent, especially I believe in the Eastern Conference Finals, but then the finals themselves. Jaylen Brown was definitely the better player of the two of them. He was scoring more points. I know Tatum was working on the defensive end, but Jaylen Brown was cooking. He won Finals MVP, so I think that's part of where that comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely said, like I said, I think it just took, from the team aspect. Jason Tatum, he plays a lot of 4 for that team when they want to go small. Like I said, especially in basketball when it's 5-on-5, you can't expect somebody to rebound, play defense, get the team involved. You can't expect someone to lock somebody down and do your normal, 30 points in there. So Jaylen Brown, last playoffs, when he was out there losing the ball, getting ripped, couldn't dribble, he had a chip on his shoulder. So of course, when he got to the playoffs for them, he had to, up his own game as well too. Like I said, I think they work really well together. Like I said, I'm not saying Jaylen Brown no scrub whatsoever. I think he's one of the best, shooting guards, 2-way players in the league. But like I said, I don't think, I don't know why this notion people say Jason Tatum soft. People just don't like it. But that's a man. That man's a hooper, man. You got to give that man his respect. You can't just be out there, whatever you think about him in there. Like I said, the ball don't lie, man. Give that man his props.
Absolutely,
I
Kyle.
have always, yeah, I've been a Jaylen Brown supporter. I always thought that the flack that he caught was crazy, and the fact that Derek White got into the not
Olympics.
playoffs, into the Olympics, and without any Jaylen Brown consideration is nuts to me. He really helped that team win. I do think this series was over before the injury, and the Knicks without facing the Celtics without Tatum for the next 3 games, they're gonna win one. There's no way the Celtics win this series, and pin this shit, and if I'm wrong, fucking, we'll figure that out later. But I think there's no way that this Knicks team doesn't win this series now that Tatum's gone. And obviously, like I'm sad for the guy. I'm sad for the Celtics. You don't want to see it go this way ever, but it happened, and yeah, I cannot see the Celtics getting out of this without him. And as good as Jaylen Brown is, maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I don't really see this team taking 3 straight. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, the Knicks are
No.
so hot right now, and Thibodeau is coaching them so well. And like, what are you gonna like? Yeah, you can't do nothing at this point. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
You're not fully stocked. You're not fully like the Pistons were short their 6th man and they couldn't do it, you know?
Yeah, I wanted the Celtics to lose too. I wanted to see the Knicks get over them, but I just wanted to see them win it, not the Celtics lose it due to an injury. You know what I mean? I've been talking
But
shit
they
about
were
the
also
Pacers.
gonna win it with Tatum, I think. Like they were already separating themselves in the series.
Not necessarily. I mean, they got blown out. The Knicks got blown out game 3, and then came in tonight. It was a close game. It was right there. Still was anybody's game with like 4 minutes left in it. That was plenty of time for the Celtics to lock in. You know what I mean? That's my thoughts at least. But yeah, I mean, I've been talking shit about the Pacers for a minute of being frauds because they keep playing hurt teams. I didn't want the Knicks to get by only due to an injury. I wanted to see them actually take it from them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I get that 100%.
Some other basketball news for tonight. The Mavericks had a 1.8% chance of getting the fucking number 1 pick in the NBA draft, and they got it. And I'm not usually a tinfoil hat guy, a big conspiracy guy, but I've got some questions, man. First of all, this is the only situation that fucking vindicates Nico Harrison, right? This would have been so bad otherwise that he made the craziest move of all time in getting rid of Luka, and now they just go ahead and replace Luka with Cooper Flagg. So that's crazy. But it also makes you wonder too if you're really starting to wonder, really put the tinfoil hat on, start being skeptical. Did Adam Silver talk to Nico Harrison and say, "Hey, you give the Lakers Luka, we're gonna get you Cooper Flagg. You'll be all right." Thoughts?
That was exactly what I was gonna bring up. Is I saw a couple posts of like just Adam Silver on a flip phone, like, you give up Luka to a number 1 market team, we'll get you Flagg. And I'm like, God damn it, that makes sense. That fucking makes sense. It makes too much sense. And he looks like an alien. He looked like he'd cook some shit up like that. Like,
he looks like an alien. Adam Silver.
Yeah, dude. He doesn't look human.
Toph, what do you think? You think it's some collusion going on? You think it's some rigging?
Well, I think there's a lot of things to break down here. It's funny how I was just literally on YouTube the other day, and I don't know how like a Luka compilation stumbled up, on my feed of like young Luka. I forgot how well he could move back when he first came, and he was like a whole lot thinner. He was dunking on people, and I'm like, Luka's like what, 25, 26? He probably
Something
came in,
like
he was
that.
probably like 18, 19. But I'm just like, man, because you always had heard, he's out there on the hookah, maybe on the LeBron Hennessy. He not really working out that well and things like that. So I'm kind of like step back and say, okay, is Nico just crazy for trading away, one of the young superstars? That just doesn't happen every day. And the more I kind of, take away and kind of think about it, on a wider spectrum, I feel differently from that trade now. And then, first reaction, I said, okay, I could make some sense into it. AD, when healthy, which I know he's never healthy, he's still one of the best players in the league. You still got Kyrie Irving. And whether if you want to keep this pick, I know they've been kind of flirting with the idea of bringing down Kevin Durant. You could trade, this first pick. I think it'd be kind of crazy if you are planning on this whole win now mode. Do you think bringing KD to pair with his best friend and Kyrie before you shaking your head. And AD think that's a better play than running with those two plus a young Cooper Flagg. But I think it's just crazy that we've had this whole wave of fired Nico, he got to go, and then now you give that very same team the first overall pick. Out goes one Caucasian. Now you bring the next one on in there. They calling this guy, white LeBron, all kind of stuff. I think Cooper is a hell of a player. It would be interesting to see, that whole comparison. But I think, in all sports, you hear it with football, always rigged, Super Bowl matchups. It's hard to defend that when you see a team just get rid of one superstar, get one right back. Barely had any odds to get the first pick. Like I said, I don't know. I feel like this always happens, especially for the NBA draft. So there's
Mm-hmm.
definitely got to be some kind of rig collusion because ain't no way you just get that.
Well, I mean, yeah. Even the Spurs getting Wemby the way they did, they were like one of the more like it was a similar thing. I think they had like a 3 point something percent, but still, it was like the Pistons had a 14.2% chance they got the fifth pick, which we got Asar Thompson from, which I'm not gonna bitch. But man, like yeah, we had the worst. We had like 14 wins or 27 wins or some shit. We had one of the worst like entire records ever, and we couldn't get the first round pick. We couldn't get the first pick overall. We couldn't get the top 3 pick overall. Like we had to go to fifth. I hate that lottery bullshit because it's just like, how are you gonna really know and trust that that happened that way? That being said, if you get the number 1 pick, you're the Dallas Mavericks. You ain't trading that for shit. I love KD. He's my boy. You are taking Cooper Flagg because that guy is a fucking sponge. He will engulf the game and he will make everything he can out of his game around your franchise. Like he is just like the guy you want to build around. So I do not think you give up that pick for anything.
I couldn't find the thing. I saw this earlier, and I didn't think about saving it until you just said this. This is like the third or fourth or fifth time in a row that the here we go. I got it. It's from
One of the
Field.
smaller percentage teams got
No,
the
no, not that. It's from Field Yates. Since the NBA changed its lottery system in 2019, the team with the league's worst record has never won the lottery and picked first overall. This marks the third straight year that the team with the league's worst record will pick fifth overall.
Now let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
Um, whether if you agree or disagree, like the NFL style, worst team always gets the number 1 pick in there. Do you think that wouldn't work in the NBA style just because players have more freedom, they have more power, you can kind of push trades and things like that? Do you think every single year if you get the worst record you guarantee to get the first pick, do you think that would ruin like the whole like draft integrity?
I think that they just changed it due to the to try to stop tanking.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if either of you guys are historians in the NBA enough to fact check me on this. That might have been a direct result of the 76ers process where they tanked and got Ben Simmons,
Look at
tanked and
Ben
got
Simmons,
Joel
Joel
Embiid,
Embiid.
like intentionally tanking. So they're like, all right, if we're not going to let you do this anymore, like if you tank, you still might not get number 1.
See, but here's the thing. Like Philadelphia, you know, on this free agency, all the players they can pick and choose where they're gonna go. The bad teams, they're not gonna go there. So you always have to build your team to the draft. So if you have to tank, that's just what you have to do. That's a realistic strategy. Does that ruin the game? Yeah, but what else do you want their team to do? They don't have
No,
any other option.
I
So
agree.
you have to tank.
And I do want to see the worst team get the better players because that's how you even out the stuff. Something I'm really sad about, and I don't want this whole conversation to switch up, but something I'm sad about the idea of is everyone's talking about Giannis is going to leave the Bucks this season or is likely to. And it's like, I don't want to see someone that makes the Milwaukee Bucks, not a huge market, makes them relevant and makes another piece in the West or the East where you're like, all right, we got to account for them. I don't want to see him leave and just make another big market team stronger. You know what I mean? I want that distribution of everyone having good players, so you get hard matchups. So no, I'm
Yeah.
with you. I think that I'd
Right.
like to see them go back to just a worst team, best worst team gets the number one pick, and then down the line.
Yeah, and not to harp on that, but at least me personally, what I feel like, especially in basketball, like we see it with Damian Lillard, you know, people say, you stuck there way too long. You kind of ruined your chance to, finally compete for that championship. I feel like it's really hard. You're really banking on your owner and the GM to build the best team possible for you, and especially those small market teams like Milwaukee, Portland. Like I said, people don't want to go there. It's hard to kind of form up, form the Heatles with like LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh. So, like I said, I don't fault people for switching teams. I know it's probably not the popular thing in there, but at the end of the day, these guys are playing to win the chip and things like that. Especially the NBA, there's not too many good teams. Like I said, all three teams aren't competitive in there. Like it's hard to form a competitive team. You got to be deep enough, and have a well-rounded team to really compete. So, like I said, I'm somebody that's in favor of the players, empowering themselves, doing what's best for them. That's just how I feel personally.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the evidence supports that that's the right move. It's not often that you see the LeBron go back to Cleveland win a chip. Giannis won a chip in Milwaukee. It's more often that you see like Dame is almost a cautionary tale for when you see someone stay for too long and then he finally leaves and now it's too late. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Whereas Kevin Garnett left the Wolves, went to the Celtics, won a ring. Kevin Durant left OKC, won a ring. LeBron left Cleveland, goes to Miami, wins a ring. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and ring culture is so important nowadays in basketball to where, you know what I mean? Like you're dunking on like a Charles Barkley for never winning a ring. You're dunking on KD back before he went to the Warriors for not winning a ring. Um, so yeah, I'm 100% with you. Like that seems like that's just is what it is. But to offset that, yeah, I think that you need to. I think that they should get rid of the lottery and just yeah, with when your superstar leaves when Milwaukee, and it's different because like you can trade like your picks and stuff like that. So it might not matter anyways because you're like Milwaukee doesn't even have like their own pick for like the next few years. So even if Giannis leaves like and they tank, they're still fucked. Um, but yeah, to offset that, I definitely think that they should get rid of the lottery. Go back from worst team number one pick. Kyle, what do you think?
Yep. I agree completely. Give
Yeah.
the worst team, and I mean, yeah, you do something for tanking, I guess. Part of that is you have such a big season, right? That you don't like. You could easily be like, all right, we're like 12th, but we're only 4 games back of being 15th. Like, let's just fucking sit our starters and see what happens, you know? Um, yeah, I don't like any sport doing that. So like anything that promotes that sucks to me. But I do think that I don't know. I do think that players will play hard because they want their bonuses. They want their contracts. Like there's reasons for players to play even when their team isn't playing well. So I can't totally argue the point of like people will just sell and go for the first round pick and their organization will just let them sell. I very much agree. Like they should bring it back to how the NFL has it. Like whoever had the worst record in the league, you get the number one pick.
Yeah, even
Um,
if you switch. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kyle.
no, you're good. Yeah,
Okay.
but putting it in some sort of like some sort of a lottery might make sense. But like even just shrinking the lottery to like the bottom five or the bottom six, not the bottom half of the league. You know, like the Mavericks made the playoffs and they had the number one pick. That sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even if you worst team always gets that first pick, that's not a guarantee that first pick is going to be the best player, in the whole draft.
That's
Like we
true.
see, Jayson Tatum, he was in the first pick. Lamella Ball, Ant Man, we had Anthony
Hmm.
Bennett become an
MJ
overall pick. Yeah,
number
I
three.
think Andrew Wiggins was number overall pick. He got traded, but just because you get the number one pick doesn't mean you always guarantee get the best player. So you could still end up being, in a bad spot, but at least you get a chance to compete and build a proper team.
And yeah,
That's very
like I
true.
said, like we got Asar Thompson, number 5, and I was like, man, but that kid has worked out so well. I
I think
mean,
Donovan Mitchell was like the 15th pick. And look at this guy now.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, Chauncey Billups was first round. I was thinking Chauncey Billups was second round, but he was
Hey,
like
Jokic was
fifth.
the second round.
Jokic was
Yeah.
second round, wasn't he?
Second
Jokic
round.
was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial.
That's crazy.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I'm serious.
That's crazy.
Bro,
Like I
Taco
said-
Bell needs to come out with Jokic sauce.
Yeah.
Jokic was crazy.
I'm not
Tastes
putting
like your
Jokic.
horses.
Yo, a special
Give that man
horseradish.
burrito or something.
yeah.
I'm not putting Jokic sauce on my taco, bro. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
me
that missed
neither.
me on that.
You can have that creamy sauce. Yo, so Spirit Airlines, dog, back in the headlines for bad reasons yet again.
Yeah.
A person had posted a video on Twitter of roaches on the plane, bro. Roaches. What would you do, Toph, if you're fucking sitting there up at elevation, bro, playing your video game, and you look up and it's a motherfucking cockroach above you?
Well, first of all, I don't mess with Spirit Airlines at all. But, you know, if I was down bad for 1,000 and had to take their Spirit flight, I'm sitting there chilling. You know, I just look when the ceiling, I see a roach. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm getting off that plane, get me a parachute. I'm gonna take my chances. I gotta go. Get me off this plane.
Fucking parachute.
Yeah. I'm opening that hatch. I said, I'm gonna see y'all later. I'm about to here.
Oh my god, bro. I can't imagine that motherfucking roaches on the plane. And what's crazy is, like, do you think that had to come from a passenger's luggage, or you think that that's on the plane?
Ooh,
See, doesn't
that's a
Spirit
good
always
question.
have these like things going on? So it's hard to. I mean, I guess granted, Spirit is cheap flights, so the people that will get on these, planes might have bed bugs, dirty houses, things, so they could attract it. But Spirit always has something going on, so there's something going on with Spirit. I might say, I'm gonna say it's Spirit. They got some issues. Need to quarantine them planes. They gotta do something.
Oh my
Call
god.
Orkin,
This is 10 to
call 'em
1
up.
odds. This is Spirit. Like, I know, I mean, we've all encountered some crazy fellow passengers on Spirit Airlines, but I don't think any of them were hauling roaches. Anybody that I've run into. So I think that's on the airline at this point.
On the airline.
Yeah,
Man,
I mean, call a spade at this point, man. You're charging $98 for me to go from Michigan to fucking Aruba. Like, call a spade a spade.
Hey, you
Bro,
get what you pay for.
Yeah,
Spirit-
exactly.
I've been in the predicament before, bro. I've taken some Spirit flights before. I never want to, man. Like, I get on the fucking. I go. I look at the prices, bro. I see I can go round trip Spirit for fucking $400. That same round trip with Delta is $1,000. I'm like, that's $600 more I have toward the vacation. Like, you know what I mean? So I've taken some Spirit Airlines, and I've always fucking regretted it, bro. Every time I take Spirit, I'm reminded of every time I'm like, I'm never doing that again until I check those prices again. I've had
you gotta
fucking
double up on Dramamine, dude. You gotta just you gotta get something, like anything to settle your stomach when you're riding, because there's no Spirit airline flight that ends without a shit ton of turbulence. Like, it's always like halfway through, you're like, what the fuck? Like, Delta didn't experience this.
One of the first times I flew, I was flew by myself. I was sitting there, I was watching like a stand-up on my iPad, right? I'm sitting here and I'm locked in, and I'm like, damn, we're hitting a lot of potholes. Wait a second. Wait a second, there's no potholes in there. I was on fucking Lex and I were coming back from Vegas one time, right? And they hit us with a delay, and it was like going to be like an hour delay. And then it was like, got bumped up to like 3 hours. And they're like, yeah, your plane broke. Like, we're trying to fix it. We're like, what? Okay. So they're working on it, bro. We're delayed all fucking day. We got there at like 2 p.m., bro. At like 7 o'clock, maybe, they get us on the plane. And they're like, hurry, hurry, hurry. Like, the crew's about to time out. Like, we got to get this plane going quickly. Got everybody on there, got all the fucking luggage in there. They got us sitting down. They're like, all right, everyone's got to sit down. Like, we got to get the shit going, right? And then they're like, oh, well, the crew just timed out, guys. Everybody get off the plane. We literally were on the plane, on on the fucking tarmac driving. And they were like, we hadn't taken off yet. They're like, nope, the crew timed out. Like, everybody got to get off. So when we got off, like, what the fuck? I've never even heard of this before. Of having to get off a plane that we were on. Get off, unload everything, sitting there for fucking like 5 more hours. Finally, they were like, yeah, your flight has been canceled. No fucking like offer of vouchers or getting you back or anything. They're just like, y'all gonna have to figure that shit out, guys. Like, our next available flight with Spirit wasn't for three. It wasn't for 3 days. We were stuck in Vegas for 3 days, bro. I tried to fucking talk to their fucking support. We wound up going back to the hotel, wound up making some friends for those 3 days with other people that were stuck in Vegas, trying to fly back to Detroit. And they were like, said that they're going to send us like hotel vouchers and food vouchers and shit like that. Bro, I was on with customer service for probably 5 hours after waiting because like you had to go up to like the desk to like try to like make your own fucking like deal with them, right? The line was enormous. We were there for probably 4 or 5 hours in that line, making no progress. And so we fucking went to the hotel. I called the next day on the line with them. They're like, we've sent it like 4 fucking times. What do you mean you haven't gotten them yet? I'm like, there's nothing in my fucking email. So we finally get back 3 days fucking later, bro. I never saw those vouchers. I never saw the shit. I contacted them.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
bro. I got pimped with the extra 3 days in Vegas. It was bad. I dealt with that shit. I booked through Priceline, even though I confirmed my email over the phone with their customer service 4 times, and they said, this is the email we sent it to. I found out when I get back to Michigan that they had sent all those vouchers to the Priceline email, to Priceline themselves, not to me. I was sick. And they were
Spirit.
Yeah, bro, fuck Spirit. So I'm just never gonna fly anywhere again. I'm just not ever gonna fly again.
That's what we should just name the episode. We just need to name the episode "Fuck Spirit."
Fuck Spirit. And what's crazy too is they talk to you when you land. They like the flight attendants sound surprised when the plane lands. Like they fucking you touch down the tarmac. They're like,
oh yeah.
So they're like, so we made it, right? And motherfuckers start clapping and shit. I'm like, we're supposed to make it. I didn't buy this to fucking die. I expect to land, bro. They always sound shocked.
I seriously heard a woman say, holy shit, we did it, one time.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? I mean, was it that close?
Nigga, I expect to land. This is not supposed to. Why do you sound surprised? I've heard people say this before, bro. They call it Spirit.
I paid to land. That was half of my payment was the landing part.
I've heard people say before the whole reason it's called Spirit is because the only way you getting from point A to point B is by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Now that makes sense now.
That's beautiful.
Yep. All right. Cenat receives backlash over only having accepted black streamers into streamer universities so far. People are pissed about it, calling him all sorts of racist and this and discriminating. Toph, I'm gonna let you take this.
You want me to start us off?
Oh yeah, go for it.
I know, I was just kidding.
No, you got it, big dog. What's your thoughts?
I think Cenat is the shit. I think he's actually like an inspiration to me in the way of like just letting yourself be you and not giving a fuck about like what the trends are. Like he's just always been a creator that just like goes by the beat of his own compass, and he's a wholesome dude. He's always like trying to help out the people that are less fortunate. That's how we got Ray and Rakai and like these young people that are on his are in his organization now. Yeah, man. Any backlash coming at Cenat, I'll fight you on it because that dude is the most inclusive, wholesome motherfucker in the world.
Toph?
Yeah, 100%. Well, first of all, this is his thing. So who are you to tell this man who he can include, who he can't include, and things like that? You know, first of all, us as human beings, as Americans, whatever you want to call it, We gotta stop looking down on people and things like that, man. Um, this is a great opportunity for any aspiring content creator and things like that. Um, who he decides to include in his university, you got to think this should be a life changing experience for that individual, his family. This guy has won multiple Streamer of the Year awards,
Mm-hmm.
so obviously this guy knows what he's doing and things like that. You could say he's got the Midas touch, and everything he does turns to gold. Like what Kyle said, I mean, I'm someone that watches all the AMP videos. I don't even watch normal TV anymore. I only watch content creators, and I watch a wide variety of different people, not just black people, white people. Like I said, if you're entertaining, I like what community is about, what you put out there. I'm a fan of it, and things like that. Like I said, I think it's just people being, whether you want to call them racist, or they just don't like watching black people prosper and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Them being up, like I said, come on, we got to get over that, man. It's 2025. We got to share the love, things like that, man. Like I said, this is a game breaking opportunity for people, things like that. So like I said, what he decides to do, this is his platform. He can do what the hell he wants to do, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who he
Go ahead.
sees fit to be hired is who he sees fit to be hired too. Like, and the streamer university shit really just started. Like, it hasn't been going that long. Like, who's to say he's not going to hire like a funny white dude in a couple days?
Well,
Shut up,
hold on.
Cracker Kyle.
Now that I think about it, all of us didn't think about Mr. Beast when he donates all his money. Like I said, I've seen black people get money, white people get. We don't see
Yeah,
anything about him when he
yeah,
does this donation thing. So like I said, let's keep a spade a spade. Keep it 100, man.
I've got a few thoughts
100%.
on the whole situation. The first one is this is not and not to push back on your take, Kyle, but this is not a public company or even a private company. This isn't. He's not hiring people. He's giving people an opportunity to come. It's making it like a campus, like a almost like a workshop kind of a deal, right? So it's just him. I think he's putting like $500,000 for this. It's basically a donation. So if any private citizen wants to make a donation, if Cenat want to donate $500,000 to the NAACP, if fucking Cracker Kyle wanted to fucking donate $500,000 to the fucking like a political campaign or something like that, whatever fucking it is, a private citizen is able to fucking donate their money how they see fit. You know what I mean? So we have no say into how they're doing that, for one. Two, the opportunities that he's giving people. I mean, you're talking about Toph calling a spade a spade. Um, Statistically, black people come from significantly less money as a median, like the median income. So what he's doing is providing a lot of opportunities to people that maybe have the skill and the talent and the potential, but don't have the resources to make it on their own. So for him doing that, that's really cool. Going to basically uplift people in marginalized communities to give them a chance that they may otherwise not have. The third one I think is fucking hilarious. We're 5 months into the new year. I'm pretty sure the fucking whole point of the people that are complaining about this, their whole agenda for the last fucking 5 months has been NDEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So now that we got a nigga out here trying to give money to other niggas, now all of a sudden they want DEI. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go.
What about what about the white streamers? What about the white streamers? You can't select any of them. I thought it was a meritocracy. Well, he's picking the people that he wants to give that shit to. So
exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with the whole thing. I think the whole thing is ridiculous. But at the end of the day, all jokes aside, this money is essentially a donation. And he could donate that money to whoever he wants to do. And if he wants to have people come up, post up in a dorm room for a little bit and teach them how to be a streamer, he can pick whoever he fucking wants to. There's no problem with that. And if Mr. Beast or someone else wanted to go do the exact same thing and put up 500K and teach a bunch of white people how to stream, that's his prerogative. You're not going to see me bitching about it at all, because it's not. The difference between that and companies is the fact that if you're a company in like an actual company, you should be maintaining proper fucking practicing, like hiring practices. This is not a company. It's a donation. So everybody's got their panties in a bunch for no fucking reason.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
what I mean. Like, there will probably be a couple white people that's like squeak in there. Like, everybody's like all up in arms, and not that that's the reason to stop being up in arms because he included 2 white people, but it's just like he's including who he finds funny, who he finds entertaining, who he thinks has potential, and who he thinks he needs to support, you know? And like
Or
these
maybe
are
who
the
needs,
people he's felt the need.
or maybe who feels he needs to support, who is in the most need of
Right.
the support.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, white, black or not, like that. Yeah, these are the people right now. And so yeah, I know what Cenat's about. So like this whole like, oh, it's a race bait shit. Like I know it means nothing because Kai is just going after who he thinks he's gonna help. Like, and like you guys just said, there's a marginalized community that he's a part of that he feels like he can really help boost right now. And I'm not ever going to talk that down. I'm not ever going to tell him he shouldn't do that.
Toph, anything else to say with that, or are you good?
No, I mean, like I said, I think we pretty much already made our point and things like that. Like I said, I watch a lot of Kai's content. Like I said, he's a very giving person, things like that, because I know him himself, for a good portion of his life. Like I said, I mean, he was living in the shelter. Like I said, he didn't really have a father figure in his life. His mom, basically, sacrificed herself to kind of provide the best possible way they could. So like I said, for the moment, this guy has made it big. He's never, seemed arrogant, things like that. He shows love to everybody. He found Ray and was it Taiwan, built a school in Nigeria. So if he would just come out there to attack this man, because, everybody wants to hate on the black man. They don't want to see a black man winning and things like that. We got to get over that, man. It's that same loose mentality that we got going on that, America never be fixed and things like that. So everybody wants to give, this opportunity to, that's his prerogative, man.
Absolutely. All right. Last topic of the night. As always, funny posts. It appears I'm the only person that did my homework tonight, so I've got a few for y'all to make up. Let me get these off. So Michael Jordan is going to be a special contributor to NBC's upcoming NBA coverage this upcoming year. At Hubie Talk Hoops, MJ's Gambling Corner, sponsored by FanDuel.
Jesus Christ.
Uh,
I knew it was going to be something about gambling. I knew it.
Hey, I'm going to need them Jordan parlay picks, man. Send them picks,
yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah, shit. I'll ride those coattails. Hell, shit.
At J. Richard Goodman said, organized crime right in front of your eyes, NBA draft. And Eric Tillman _ said Rico Harrison.
Oh, man.
Somebody got the fuck out of Kevin Durant earlier. He tweeted and said, tanking must be really stressful on an organization. And at playoff something, I'm so sorry I don't have your full at, says the dude whose only rings are from assembling the Avengers.
Oh,
cooked him. Fuck you, Kyle. You look so mad.
Normally, it's just a natural resting bitch face. I'm not trying to do this, but this is real.
And then my last one, Toph, you kind of hit on this earlier. It's at Kate B. Dahl. Mavs get their white star player to replace their white star player who replaced their white star player. All right, everybody. That's all the time the time we've got for us tonight. Nolan's not here, so I'm not going to give him the chance to say his super long goodbye. But if you,
everybody
you,
in the
KD.
chat, respond, hit up all those socials, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, run up them comments, man.
Comment, tell me how stupid I looked.
This nigga Toph pulled up with a fucking gun. I feel like he was popped out at me at the ATM. He said, "Hey, everybody, leave a comment right now. Put the comments in the bag, dog." Or else. Captain America's gonna find you,
like
dog.
Nico Harrison.
But yeah,
pulling up.
Yeah, leave us a comment, subscribe, like. Appreciate you guys. We'll read all the comments. We'll get back to you guys on them.
Baby.
Yeah, that's true. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching us, and we will see you later this week. Peace.
Peace.